Welcome back to the Stepping Bricks YouTube channel. My name is Dr. Giuseppe Paladini. I'm the founder of Stepping Bricks, and today we're going to talk about a delicate topic. It's about renting or buying when you're starting a family. I get asked this question from many people. So they are starting out a family and they want to know if they should continue renting, or if they already have a mortgage, if they should move to a bigger place because probably they're expecting a child. So this is a delicate topic because it's not for everybody. So it's not like an answer for every single person, because it depends on your circumstances, depends on your background, depends if you have a capital to invest in a bigger property, or if you're renting, depends if you have a job and all your affordability. They will go through the mortgage broker when they check all your credits. Now, for each person, obviously it works differently, as I said, but let's try to break this down into the two main type of people. Let's say the one that is renting and the one that has already a mortgage and wants to move to a bigger place. So let's say you are renting and you're paying a decent amount of money for the rent. However, the house or the flat is not yours, and you're deciding to get on the property ladder and you want to buy your first property together. Now, I can say most likely the mortgage of the new house will be cheaper than the rent you're paying right now, unless of course you've been in the property for many years, the rent has never been increased, but that's a particular situation. In general terms, the rent generally is higher than the mortgage. That's why the investors bought the house in the first place and rent it out to you. Now, if you are thinking about getting on the property ladder and buy your next property or your first property, with your partner, then there are a few things that will freeze you, let's say, when you do the research. One of the common topic is, oh, my husband is looking at Rightmove and Zoopla, or my wife is doing the same, but they never get to decide which property is right for them, specifically because of budget, location, proximity to schools, and etc. Now, for these kind of questions, obviously you need to have a conversation between you and your partner first. And then when you go on these portals like Rightmove and Zoopla and website and estate agencies, then you need to have a clear idea of what you want. If you don't have a clear idea of what you want, guess what? You're never going to find the perfect place. And when I say the perfect place, it means it doesn't exist the perfect place, because you will make it perfect with your partner. So don't get bogged down into too many details on, oh, it doesn't have a garden, or, oh no, this paint of the wall is too dark for my taste. You can repaint, you can reshape the garden, you can add an extra room, you can do whatever you want with the property once you move in. So if a property is not well presented, it means that you might get it cheaper. So it's not all bad at the end of the day. Sometimes we get potential buyers in the properties that we sell with Golden Tree Estates that they say, oh no, I don't really like the color of the living room. I mean, you can change that for a very low cost. So don't get stopped by that first obstacle. So let's go back to the topic. If you are renting and you're deciding and looking on Rightmove, on Zoopla, what you want to buy, make sure you book the viewings, because if you stop at the portals, then you're never going to have that feeling of you living in that property. So the first tip is go and view these properties. Now, don't book 100 viewings, because obviously you're going to waste everybody's time, but make a selection according to your clear idea you had before when you discussed with your partner. Is that clear? Okay, so the next step is to speak to a mortgage advisor, mortgage broker. The reason for doing that is because you need to know your affordability. I would say probably the mortgage broker, you need to approach him or her before you go and view the properties, because the mortgage broker can tell you how much you can afford for that particular property. So if you go and look for £500,000 properties and your broker will say, no, your affordability based on your salary is 120, obviously you're wasting everybody's time. Now, if you want to know the calculations that the lenders, the banks, will do for deciding your affordability, it's quite simple. So some lenders multiply 4 times the annual salary. So your gross annual salary, let's say, is £20,000, your multiplier will be £80,000, which means the bank can lend you up to £80,000 in this particular case. Some lenders will multiply by 4.5 and some will multiply by 5. So it really depends on who you are approaching. But again, you're not going bank to bank on the high street. You're going to speak to a professional broker. They can tell you which lenders are suitable for you. Once you know your affordability, then you can go and have a look at the properties. They fit your range. In Rightmove and Zoopla, you can actually move your price range from minimum price to maximum price, and then you can only view the properties that are appealing to you from the pictures. That's another thing. Pictures may be deceiving. Some properties look amazing on the pictures, and then you walk in and say, that room looked bigger in the picture. Yes, that happens a lot. Or vice versa, maybe the estate agency did invest in a good photographer and the pictures are rubbish and nobody wants to have a look. So you get a deal there because you can go and view the property and then you say, actually, that's not that bad. So then you can make an offer because you have less competition, even better. So you can grab a good deal and it's going to be your first home. I wouldn't use the word forever home because nothing is forever, okay? So you're going to change your lifestyle. Maybe you have 1, 2, 3 kids, who knows? Maybe you are relocated, or maybe, I don't know, you just want to live in the countryside rather than the city. So whatever reason, when you grow older, then you might change your priorities, so it's not your forever home. But don't think too far ahead, just one step at a time. Now, when they calculate your affordability, there are certain things that will either reduce or increase your affordability, so you need to consider these things. For example, when the mortgage broker will ask you if you have any dependents, like kids or spouse or whoever, whatever your situation is, if you have many kids, of course, that affordability will be reduced. If you are just you on the application and you have a good salary, your affordability will increase. For example, in my case, me and my wife, when we applied for the first time to our first mortgage, our house, we just had a permanent job with a good salary. My wife wasn't on a good salary at the time, so we decided to have the mortgage just on my name because the affordability was much higher in that case. So if I appear only on the mortgage, obviously, after disclosing all the information about dependents, etc., and my affordability gives me X amount, that means I can find a better house than buy with somebody else with no salary. Okay, so you can always add the person later on. When you do a remortgage, you can add the next person, your spouse, in the mortgage if you really want. Now, all clear for in case you are renting at the moment, you're planning to get into the property ladder, you got your mortgage offer, you got your offer accepted on the property, then finally you can complete on the property, which can take between 6, 8 or 12 weeks, depend on where you are in the country, which solicitor you're using and which lender you're using as well, because sometimes they take a bit longer than usual. If you already have a house and you have a mortgage, but you're starting a family and you're expecting a baby, then obviously your priority change and means that you want now to move to the bigger house, the bigger property, with maybe in a nicer area, close to a catchment school, or with a garden, for the kids to play. Whatever situation concerns you, then of course you have a set of criteria for finding the next property. However, for people that already have a house and they already have a mortgage, it might sound a little bit more difficult for them to reapply for another property, reapply for another mortgage, and maybe it's not a good time now because we're expecting a baby, and maybe I'll wait a little bit longer until the market cool down, or the interest rates are too high right now, I'll wait a little bit longer, and so on. Let me tell you, the longer you wait, the more you will pay. Even if interest rate will go down, you're still going to pay more for a house because property prices always go up. It doesn't matter if there is inflation, it doesn't matter if there is a property market crash, it doesn't matter if they change politicians in the government, it doesn't matter. Property prices always go up. If you go on Rightmove or Zoopla or all the other portals and you look back 20 years from now, you will see the properties were much, much cheaper. Even 10 years ago, even 3 years ago. So every year or every month you're waiting to buy your next property, you need to account you're going to pay more. So you need more deposit, and probably you're going to pay more for a similar house later down the line. So it's better to buy as soon as possible, get that value that is going to increase over time to build up your equity, and then you can release your equity, and maybe if you want, you can invest in property as well. Another question I get asked is, oh, I'm too old, I'm too young, I'm too busy, I'm too lazy to buy a property right now, I can't be bothered. Well, guess what? You're going to pay more if you don't do anything. There's no age to start in property. I've started a bit later. I wish I was started when I was 18, but I didn't know anything about property before. So when I started to educate myself, I understood there is no age, no excuses for not starting in property. If you're living or if you're renting in renting a property in a big city and your rent is very, very high and you're close to your job and you want to find a property to buy but it's too expensive to buy in this area, guess what? You're not a tree. You can move. You can go in the outskirts and you can buy a cheaper property, maybe bigger, and just commute, which is not a lot because the buses, trains, bicycle, cars, whatever you want to use, you can commute to your job, but at least you can have a quality of life which is much better. So don't be stuck to where you're renting. Move on the outskirts and you'll find a great deal and a better property and cheaper. Right, I hope it's been useful for you. If you want to learn more about properties, we have weekly meetings in the Stepping Bricks Club. It's only a monthly subscription. You can find the details below in the comments. Just type in the comments what you would like to learn and I'll send you the link privately. So this is Stepping Bricks YouTube channel. You have a lot of videos, a lot of hours of training for free for you to explore and to learn about properties. So don't miss this opportunity to subscribe, like the channel, share it with whoever you think it might be relevant, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye for now.